guys, so next is our panel, which I'm really excited about. It is our Rising Stars. And if we could get Marissa Leahy to come on up, Dawn Reddick, Chris Wade, and Martha. Somebody give me Martha's last name. Kasnicka? Joe Snicka? I should have asked her beforehand. I apologize for butchering your name. Come on up, ladies. Grab a seat. By the way, you guys, on your tables is a QR code, and if you go to that QR code, it's the bios for all of our speakers today. So you can go and read up on the bios and information about the sponsors. So, are you guys ready? These are our rising stars. Let me read off their bios real quick. So, hold on. We have Marissa Leahy. Where is she? There she is, right there. Marissa lives in Auburn with her two beautiful, amazing kids, Emma, Lynn, and Ethan, along with their golden doodle, Harley, and their cockatiels, Harry and Pip. Pip. She started her real estate journey in September of 2018. Prior to real estate, Marissa's professional work experience included dance teacher and dancer, physical therapy office manager, recruiter for Starbucks, there you go, and small business owner. She's a community advocate that supports and loves her town by giving time, energy, and serving on the leadership of Auburn Board. Awesome, thank you. And our next rising star, Dawn. Dawn is with EXP Realty, is also a lead listing agent for the Tom Daves team. She has three beautiful children, Derek, Taylor, and Nick. Juggling two real estate businesses and mom life can be challenging. Anyone else challenged with being mom life? We're going to hear about that next. She feels incredibly blessed and humbled to serve all of her clients. When she's not hustling real estate deals, Dawn and her family enjoy spending time on the water wherever it can be. Rising star Chris. Chris Wade started her real estate career in February of 2020, 1 month before the shutdown for COVID. How convenient was that, right? Real estate quickly became her primary occupation as the three gyms she owned and operated with her husband were permanently closed as a result of the pandemic. In her 2 years as a realtor, she's helped over 55 families buy or sell. Rock star. She was the Rookie of the Year in 2020 for her brokerage and has been a member of Masters Club every year, born and raised in East Sac. Last year moved to Auburn. She and her husband Curtis have a blended family of 4 children, first grandbaby born in March of this year. By the way, Taylor Zapata, who's one of my favorite people on the planet, is here with her newborn over there in the corner. I said, bring the baby. And but last year she was here with a newborn too. So I asked if she was coming next year with a newborn. She said, absolutely not. So there you go. All right. Oh, it also says that you currently training for your 10th Ironman triathlon. I'm lucky if I can run to the coffee machine. There you go. All right, next we have rising star Martha. Please say your last name again. Joe Snicka. Oh, yeah. It's spelled Czosnyka. So, yeah. I try to get him right because, you know, with a name like Marguerite Crespillo has 19 letters. Like, people never get my name right, but that was a tough one. Sorry. You probably haven't heard that before, huh? No. Martha's always loved the idea of working in real estate. However, her professional career started in the food and beverage industry nearly 15 years ago. How many of you guys were in the food industry before? Waitress, bartender, something like that? Yeah, absolutely. During her tenure, Martha held various executive marketing positions, which culminated in her role as the director of field marketing at Buy Drinks. Is it Bay? Buy Drinks, which was acquired by Dr. Pepper Snapple. During a well-needed break from the corporate world, Martha and her husband traveled overseas to Tokyo and mused about starting their own marketing agency designed to help growing brands accelerate. Their firm is now known as one of the largest national field marketing agencies in the country. Martha served as co-founder for 6 years and during COVID decided it was time to step down and embrace her long-held dream of working in real estate. There you go. All right, ladies. So are you all ready? Okay. So we have 2 microphones here. By the way, they've not been given any questions ahead of time, so that just so you know. And they've all tried to bribe me as to what questions I would be asking, and I just told them that I did last year. I promised I wouldn't make them look stupid, so that's my big one, right? So these guys have all closed at least 24 transactions in their first 2 years of real estate. Please, let's first of all give them a big, huge warm welcome. All right, so thank you all for being here today. Thank you, thank you. To start off, I'm going to ask you guys a couple questions, and we'll just take turns answering the question. So I'm going to ask this first one, which is one of my favorite. What has been your biggest hurdle? And I'll start with you.
Biggest hurdle would be, I would say, gosh, there's a lot of hurdles. If I'm going to go with the biggest is probably cheerleading for yourself and to stay with your schedule. And be intentional with what you're doing. Because no one's going to wake you up at a certain time. No one's going to push you. Well, unless you have amazing mentors, they do. But really sticking to what you want to accomplish for that day. And no matter what, it took me 7 months to even get my first deal. And so I remember the day I got my first deal, it was a listing, and I got a phone call. And this was 7 months, and I actually said, I'm done, I'm not going to do this that morning. And that afternoon at like 2:30, I got a call and said, hey, do you want to sell my house? Yeah.
Sure.
Have you ever done that before? Yeah. So, yeah, I would say probably that would be my biggest hurdle.
That's awesome. Great, thank you.
I think my biggest hurdle was opening lock boxes and doors in front of clients when I was new.
You mean the Easter egg hunt, right?
Like the one thing they don't teach us, right? And then the lock challenge. And then watching them drive away and going back to make sure I locked the door. Like, take a picture of yourself. You locked it. But no, in all honesty, I think the biggest hurdle being a new agent is treating yourself like a business and believing in yourself and, get comfortable being uncomfortable because you are going to get rejected and told no, and you're going to get cheated on with other agents because that's what they do. They use you, and you take it so personal. And you can't take it personal. You just have to swallow it up, get back up there, and, get the next lead.
Has anyone made it all the way home with the lockbox key in their pocket? Yes. You're like, oh. And it's always the one where it was like an hour away, like you drove to the middle of nowhere, right? And you get home and you're like, I can't believe I have that key in my pocket. So there you go. See, we're all just the same. She still has a missing key.
Someone has it.
Martha.
I think my biggest hurdle was understanding the real estate language. It was completely new to me, as for all of us that are new agents. Going through the escrow process, like what's title, what's escrow, buyer's agent, seller's agent. So I think kind of navigating through that. And then, of course, doing my first deal, I asked a million questions because, it's your first deal. You don't know really what's going on. And it took me about 4 to 5 months to get my first deal as well. So it took some time.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I think my biggest hurdle when I started was that I really did get my license legitimately 3 weeks before everything was like, wah, wah. I was like, oh no. And, everybody that we talked to just said, reach out to your database and let them know what you're doing. And I just felt, for me, that felt super inauthentic and not very genuine in the midst of this big unknown of what was coming for the entire world to say, hey, guess what, I'm in real estate. So that for me was probably my biggest hurdle when I started. And now just kind of working into my database on a regular basis. That's my have to do. And I have a coach every day that checks in with me with a little question mark. And I was like, got to get on it. So, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to leave it there because we'll go backwards. So what got you through that first year? So what would you say was the number one thing that got you through that first year?
Wine.
We love her already. Next year, this event will include wine, for sure, yeah.
When you roll into BevMo and they're like, hey, Chris, I'm like, oh, God. I knew I had faith in myself. I knew I could do it. I've always done it. I've had a wide variety of careers I've had in my lifetime, and I knew that I had trust in myself. So waking up every day, like you were saying, and just knowing that you could do it, and doing it regardless of how I felt about doing it. So reaching out to people or attacking the one thing that maybe intimidated me the most first thing in the morning so I could just not have to stress about it all day. That was probably my biggest thing. and then celebrate in the evening with a glass of wine.
There you go.
What got me through the first year, I mean, it was extremely stressful, I remember, and I was overwhelmed a lot, and it's good to have your support system, right? I have my husband, my daughter. I also have a great team that I joined, so my team was essential to kind of navigating me through, like, you know, the questions or concerns that I had, and definitely wine.
I'm hearing a recurring theme.
I think to be a realtor, you have to drink wine.
Yeah.
That goes with the job, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was definitely joining the right team and surrounding myself with the top 5 people. That is where I wanted to be. So every day I was able to look up and say, this is where I'm going to be, and I manifested, and I just kept going. So no matter how far you go back, you wake up, you go to your team, you see everyone's there, and you're like, yep, I'm going to be that realtor, and I'm going to be here one day. And here I am.
There you go.
I like that I don't have to go first now.
Oh, there you go.
I was practicing my 8 seconds of silence that first time. So what got me through my first year that was the question. I would say relationships. I had built relationships with my mentor, Darcy Stratton, and Cindy and Jen, Rebecca Hutton, really anyone that would let me talk to them, including my amazing lender, Christy Cisneros, who did my very first open house with me. And I said, I'm brand new, I don't have any work. And she's like, that's okay, you will one day. And she stood by my side and helped me through all my marketing, everything. I could call her on anything, and she never made me feel like I was brand new and didn't know anything. She always just built me up. So I'd say relationships. The other huge thing is knowing your why. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to get up out of bed? I know we're not supposed to say why. Okay, is that a good why? I was like, oh, shoot. My why, I have to change it. No, knowing your why. Why are you doing it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So who would you say, is there one particular person that you followed maybe on social media or online, or a book that you read that was the most inspirational or helped you the most? Go ahead.
So I was really fortunate when in my second team meeting before we shut down. So it's like meeting 1, meeting 2, and then meeting 3 was like, okay, we're done. But meeting 2, I had the amazing opportunity to meet Elizabeth Axelgard, who's a top agent in our brokerage, and she and I connected, and she's been a huge mentor for me. I really admire how she conducts herself in her business, and she's just extremely intelligent, and just I've had so many meaningful, informational conversations with her that just really impacted, it's kind of like every day when I'm going through my business, I'm like, what would Elizabeth do, right? And she was really a big mentor for me, so.
Awesome.
I remember.
You remember now? Okay, go.
I remember I was just cruising through Amazon and, doing nothing and thinking I was never going to sell anything in real estate. And the book, You Are Badass. I just ordered it.
Great book, yeah.
That's the book that spoke to me.
Yeah, I love that book. You go ahead.
The biggest mentor for me, I navigated right into the Tom Daves team, 4 months being an agent. So if anyone knows Tom, he is like, go, 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 and you're coached all the time. So with Tom, I was very blessed to have very experienced agents in my corner. So Heather Sims, the sales manager, Linda Nolan, Tanya Bridges, just these amazing women. And then Tom, that just were my motivation and said, you're going to do it, you're going to rock it. And that it was them.
So I just want to highlight Heather Sims. So Heather Sims worked on my team where is she? She's hiding in the corner because that's who she is. And she worked on my team for over 10 years. And I always love to tell the story. The week I hired her was during the REO crisis and Fannie Mae. And we got the Fannie Mae account like the week she joined. And they told us they would send us 2 or 3 properties and try us out. And they sent us 90. Literally 90 properties in the middle of the REO crisis. And Heather I mean, I don't know. I felt like that fish. We were like, just keep swimming, right? But she's not only been an extraordinary human being in my life, and I'm so honored that we got to work together for a long time. But she's an extraordinary human. Yeah.
I agree. And
Yeah.
I'm so blessed because I get to work with her every day and see her, and it's
Yeah.
such an inspiration. Great way to start my day.
Yeah, she's the one who told me, do not send that email. Do not answer the phone. She was my blocker. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
So my mentor who's here, Jimmy Castro, he's our team leader. He has just been the biggest support to me, and that's who I can really thank for all the millions of questions I asked last year where I knew I annoyed him at some points, right? We ask a million questions. He just put so many different, aspects of marketing to my head and systems that as realtors we need. Otherwise, how do we go through our CRM? So I really want to thank him, and he's actually here today. So thank you.
Thank you. Where is he? Can he stand up? I can't see him. Stand up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the next question is, if you could change one thing about the industry that you've learned in your short time here, what might that be? I know that's kind of a tough question, huh?
More schooling.
There you go. More education.
More education.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
I wish we can all come together and band and have a rule that, we are not going to show buyers who are not approved. Don't be a jump and go realtor, because we're setting the tone that we're not professionals and we're not taken seriously. And it's unsafe being a woman in this industry doing it. And that's the one thing I would change. It's a requirement before we open that door, we must be approved. Proof of funds. So.
Absolutely. And on a safety note, you guys, in the current environment, in the current world, I'm just going to bring this up. This wasn't part of it. I strongly suggest you, number one, do not do open houses alone. Always have somebody with you. Do them with a lender if possible, or do them with another agent. Bring an agent along. Please don't do open houses alone. We've had recent situations where people have been ravaging medicine cabinets, stealing prescription drugs, and a number of other things. And so I encourage you, it's just not safe to do an open house alone. And it's definitely not safe.
Can I add to that comment?
Yeah.
I actually had an open house last weekend, and I had to run out of the house. Yeah. So this was when you just said that. And I thankfully my boyfriend was around the corner and came, but I had to run quickly out of the house.
Yeah, we'll do maybe some safety workshops and stuff coming up, but I really, really encourage you guys to, it's not worth the commission, that I can promise you, and know who you're going with. Don't randomly go out and show homes to somebody that, their name is just, Bob, and they don't want to give you any additional details. If your name's Bob, sorry, but
Bob and Sally.
Bob and Sally, hopefully, I don't know where they are, but hopefully they're not here. But the fact is that, you still have to be conscientious, and not to scare you, but you got to be aware and conscious of what you're doing and who you're going with. And you're not going to look stupid by saying, hey, come along with me, right? So please, your safety is worth it. Yes, Martha.
What was the question again?
Well, now I forgot. Oh, what could you change? What is the one thing you would change about the industry if you could?
Yeah, definitely more education, but maybe better communication amongst us realtors, listing agents, buyers agents. Sometimes I feel like there's a drop of communication, so maybe better communication with that.
That'd be great. You?
This is a tough question. I agree with them with more education. I think mentorship between longtime agents and newer agents would be super helpful too. There's so many awesome agents out there that have so much great experience that us newer agents would really benefit and thrive from, your experiences. So I know sometimes when we're newer agents and we're calling on a property and we really have all of the best intentions to do an amazing job and make it a great transaction for you as well. So just know that even though we're new, we try really hard.
So having been in this business a long time, I've been through every aspect, and the best advice that I ever got was not to ever burn a bridge. You don't know who you're going to be working for or who's going to be working for you. And we're in an industry where people are always changing companies, even careers, even a number of other things. And to just start by being kind and remember you were always there and started somewhere first. Like, just be kind, right? And a little tip for you new or newer agents that I used to do is I used to always go and look up their production.
Me too.
Because a lot of times they get really cocky on the phone. They're like, I've been doing this for 20 years. And you're like, but you haven't sold a house in 4, so. Right? and not to say it to be mean, but to just know who you're talking to, right? And what you're up against. But I can tell you that most of the longer time agents who've been around and been successful are more than willing to share, is my personal opinion. And if anyone ever came and asked me or called me, I'm more than happy to help. The funny thing is that we don't always call. Right? And a big challenge for women is that we don't want to ask for help because we don't want to look stupid, or we don't want to look like we don't know what we're talking about, or, some of those things. We don't want to look uncomfortable. And I'll tell you that the most successful people that I know ask for help. They pick up the phone and call. And I tell people all the time to call me, and they never call. I'm like, I'm happy to take your call and answer a question for you in any way, capacity that I can. But you always think, they're too busy. I don't want to bother them, right? So I'm going to give you an example that I've been using a lot lately. So all of you guys have had a buyer. You've been taken out showing property for maybe 4 months, right? You've written 15 offers on them. And, they're wanting to see properties at all hours of the day. And all of a sudden, you don't hear from them for the weekend. You check in on Monday, and you're like, hey, I just want to check in and see how things are going. They're like, oh, my gosh, we're so excited you called. We went to an open house over the weekend, and we know how busy you are and didn't want to bother you. So we wrote the offer with that agent. Okay, you guys, so I want to let that sink in, because when you have people around you that say, call me if you need help, call if you have a question, call if you need something, and you don't call because you think we're too busy, it's not true. That's Sally in your head talking smack. So reach out. Like, we're in an industry. The reason we're doing this event, again, this is brand neutral. We're not here to tout any particular company, is because as an industry, we need to raise the bar. And raising the bar means being more supportive and more encouraging of everybody in this business. Everyone can have their own version of success, right? So there you go. Okay, a couple more questions and I'll let y'all off the hook. So tell us about your very first transaction. How'd it go?
Well, my first transaction was a listing.
Uh-huh.
No idea what I was doing at all. I pretended the entire time. No, I probably called Darcy 1,000 times every day, all day long.
Yeah?
That was my first transaction.
Yeah.
And it was, if I didn't know the answer, I said, oh, sure, yeah, I'll find out for you. I'll find out for you. But I didn't know anything. I didn't even know how to fill out a listing agreement.
That's awesome.
Well, my first transaction, they were first-time home buyers. So we went well together. So I could really fake it the whole way. And I remember we go to open a door, and they're like, how long have you been doing this? And it just fell out of my mouth. About a year. Because I didn't want them to know they were my first. But I think in real estate, we learn lessons really, really fast. And I was negotiating repairs, and I got the appraisal, and I sent it to the other side. And it came in over value. Killed my negotiations right off the bat. I remember, it's like when you know how, we're at the highest, yay, I'm an escrow, and then, oh, crap, right? And it was like, what did I do? And it was just horrible. So a lesson learned, appraisals only for us on the buy side.
Great lesson learned. There you go.
Never do it again.
Mine was with a buyer that was from San Francisco, and so I figured, okay, an hour and a half to the Bay Area, helping him, not a big deal. I'm new. I'll go wherever. Long behold, he finds a property online in Springville, which is close to Bakersfield. So I had to do the Avid, right? So I drove 4 hours to do the Avid. We did inspections as well. The place needed a new roof. I was trying to negotiate, but again, brand new. So my buyer had to eat this new roof because he really wanted the house. But I just remember being so overwhelmed and not knowing if I was doing a good job and having to drive, twice out there. So won't do that again.
There you go. Good job. Yeah, now we refer those out, yeah.
Well, my first transaction was also a listing, and I just remember being so incredibly overwhelmed with all of the disclosures and trying to explain what they meant and not being able to sleep at night. I would wake up in a cold sweat and be like, oh my God, what does this part of this contract mean? And I would like go back and look it up, and I really just needed to like cool my jets and just realize that, you know, there's so many amazing people out there that could help me. But just, I think the process of the entire transaction and making sure that I wasn't forgetting anything, right? Because I feel like sometimes that was like the first thing I did as a checklist, so I wouldn't forget anything. But when you're new, you don't even know what you're putting on or not putting on a checklist. So for me, that was kind of, you know, making sure I had a lot of anxiety in that first transaction, making sure that I did an excellent job.
Good job.
Yeah.
So I'll date myself for a moment. So my very first transaction I did was back in like the dark ages where we had stone that we did the contracts on. No, literally the contracts though. How many of here have been more than 20 years in real estate? Okay, so back in originally our contracts were only 4 pages long, but we had NCR paper, like the carbon paper. And you had to write really hard to make sure it got to the 4th copy because the lenders actually needed the original. We had to use blue pens because they needed blue ink. They needed to have original signatures, and you had to give a copy to the seller, to the buyer, to the lender, to the title company. Yeah, so a while ago. And we didn't do inspections back then, and we did not have disclosures. So that's how it was. And we also, when I really first got started, we didn't have computers. So we had MLS books. Anyone else in here remember MLS books? Okay, there's like 3 of us, right, that are old enough to still be in real estate. So you guys, it's come a long way, and some you should be grateful for, some not so grateful for, but business has definitely come a long way. So, okay, last question, and then we'll let you off the hot seat. What is your goal for the next 12 months? It can be a personal goal, business goal, whatever your goal is for the next 12 months.
My turn. I would say no dirty yeses and strong nos.
No dirty yeses. I'm
Yeah,
not sure I
dirty
understand.
yeses mean I'm not fully into it, but I'm going to say yes because I always like to say yes.
I haven't
Okay,
heard
so that's
that.
called a dirty yes.
That's a new.
This
that's
is
to me.
new. I just learned this too.
You just learned it.
And
Okay.
a strong no. Your no can be very powerful. You're not saying no to something, you're saying not right now because maybe you need that energy elsewhere. And boundaries. I have to have boundaries. I have 2 beautiful kids that are teenagers that I don't want to miss. And I need to know that my client can't call me at 2 a.m., which happened this morning, over something very silly. You know, having those boundaries, not texting or getting back to them during my time with the family.
How many of you guys struggle with saying no? Oh, yeah, look at that, right? That's a tough one, learning to say no, because you want to please everybody and you want to take care of everybody, right?
And then you do everything terrible because you're spread too thin.
Exactly.
So those are strong no's, no dirty yeses.
Dirty yes. I got to look that one up. I haven't heard that one
It's
yet.
not
Good
mine,
one.
I can't own it, but I'll use it today.
I'm taking it. It's yours today.
Definitely piggybacking off of you, boundaries. Oh my goodness, you just let real estate go in and they do not respect you at all. So boundaries is huge. You put your clients over your family, and you do it on a daily basis, and you get so used to it. Really going into next year, setting boundaries, but also now that we're kind of grown up here, reaching my database and referrals. Now we actually get to like reach in to ask for referrals. So that's definitely going to be a huge goal for me.
Awesome. Martha?
I think for me, probably saying no more, because I do always say yes, and then I feel like it impedes on my time with my daughter, and she's only 5. So I want to start just like saying no more, I guess, and then just spending more time with her. Yeah, and just maybe going with buyers, let's say, that are pre-approved already, not trying to help everyone. So maybe those kind of boundaries for this year.
All right.
Boundaries. Definitely boundaries. I love I love my business and real estate, and I tend to have an obsessive personality. So when I love something, I just am fine doing it all the time. So, when I tell my husband, oh, I'm going to eat at the desk and work on my computer, or breakfast is at my computer, or lunch is in my car on my computer, right? That it's okay to have like a date with my husband where I don't take my phone. Anxiety inducing for sure, right? Where I'm like, what if I get a text? He says, is it really going to make a difference? And I'm like, no, probably not. So definitely boundaries and being better about blocking my time for when I'm legitimately working. Like, this is where I'm focused on working and nothing else is coming up to impede that. But then when I'm blocking for my time with my family or my hobbies, that I work hard, and I do deserve that time to do something for myself. So when I am working, I've kind of like filled my own bucket with what I need to be successful and happy.
So I'll tell you, if any of you call and listen to my voicemail, I actually have voicemail on the phone. Yeah, if you ever listen to it and don't text. It says, hi, my name is Marguerite Crespillo, and my schedule is, I'm available Monday through Fridays from 8:30 to 5:30. I work evenings and Saturdays by appointment, and I take Sundays off to be with my family. That's what my voicemail says. That's also what I say when I do my upfront client appointments, when I meet with buyers and sellers. And you know who's the most disrespectful of my schedule? Myself and other real estate agents, right? They're like, I can't believe you're not taking a call on a Sunday. I'm like, no, I'm not. So, the reality, does that mean that I never take those calls, you guys? No, it doesn't. So I'm certainly not perfect. I do return calls at certain times if I feel it's important. But it gives me the option, and what does it also create for my clients? It creates a boundary. It creates a standard, right? So if you guys can accomplish one thing today, add it to your upfront appointment as to when your schedule is, and literally go onto your phone and record your voicemail to say what your actual schedule is. And it will be a game changer for you. Really, it will. So, yes.
I just said, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to say that I'm humbled and honored to be up here. I really am. Walking in, I got a little misty because there's all these beautiful women, and I am so grateful to be here in your presence and up here and I just met these lovely ladies, and I just think as a community, coming together like this is so amazing. And I've worked with so many amazing women who are rock stars. Every one of you is a rock star, and have always told me yes whenever I needed anything. I wouldn't even be up here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, anything else you would like to add, ladies, before we wrap it up? All right, you guys, please give them a huge, huge warm welcome and hand. They did an extraordinary job. Thank you.